This is Samantha Flatland, and this is my November language contact presentation. In the month of November, I spent 2 hours with my Spanish lesson at a Partners in Empowerment with a translator, and 2 hours of Spanish radio, and I listened to 103 on my way to work or school. With my Spanish lesson at my facility with the boys, we did a lesson on portion sizes. A lot of the time, they are getting their foods right from food shelter donations and such. So they come in like industry size bags or just not in our normal containers, so it's even harder to guess food portions for them. For some of the examples that I brought just to show them, one was Coca-Cola, and for them, it is Coca. For cereal, cereal. Jugo, portions, porciones. Whole grains, granos integrales. Sweet potatoes, camote. And the sweet potatoes actually bring me into the culture. We were talking about last week. She wanted to have us get involved with explaining English culture, and I didn't realize that for the boys who are just newly here, they just got to the United States within the last year, that they had no idea what Halloween was when it had passed and what Thanksgiving is, because that's not something that's celebrated in Mexico or any of the South American countries. And I was trying to explain to them like Thanksgiving foods and culture, and I tried to tell them about sweet potatoes, but even my translator wasn't really sure how to say it, since it's not something that is common for them or that they really have had regularly. And so for them, they were asking me so much about the English culture in America that it really opened my eyes to how different theirs is, and how for them, like for, instead of Thanksgiving, they have something completely different from their history. Also, with teaching them food portions, no matter what the culture is, boys are always hungry. They're growing. So that's something that's very consistent to everyone amongst all of cultures. And again, the boys are very, very respectful of everything that I'm doing for them. They have been abandoned in their minors, and they're in a they really appreciate me trying to go out of my way to speak Spanish for them. And in the United States, it's everyone speaks English, and things are kind of taken for granted that for them, even just me trying to better communicate with them is something that they're very respectful towards. For my other 2 hours of the language contact, I listened to La Tricolor 103.5 FM. Some different vocabulary that I learned throughout the time: skinny, flaca, strong, fuertes, only, solamente. At the end of the sentences, they do like a pause in verdad, which is true, or asking like right. I guess in American would be like the closest translation. Look is mira, point, punto. They for 103.5 point is punto, and for por lo pronto to get regresarse. I really struggle with that word. But they kept repeating it over and over, so it made me so curious. And for their culture, the classic Spanish music always has a lot of trumpets, and it's a very vibrant beat that can stand out very well, and you'll quickly realize that you're listening to a Spanish song before even the instrumentals start. They have that signature trumpet and instrumentals, and they really appreciate the background of it. and it's very pretty and has something that's signatured for their culture. At this Spanish radio station, it's very broad range content. In the morning, on the way to school, I would listen to it, and the announcer went by Flocka, and she was sassy and fun and very charismatic. And then at night, when I would be driving home from work, they would be, for example, talking about a football game, or they would be playing, more of an upbeat, somewhat like rapish type music during the day maybe, and then at night it would be a very, very traditional, older Spanish song. So it was something cool, and it allowed me to see deeper into their culture, I felt like. Everyone was very, very enthusiastic, as with the same in, an English radio station, announcers have. But it just showed me, the difference in music and the difference between times, really allowed for different type of people to show. Some words also stayed consistent. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but for example, every name brand thing is the same in every culture, which I thought was, it just makes things interesting or easier that everything with a brand, cars, restaurants, the Big Mac, it all stays consistent no matter what culture you're in. So it's something that everyone can identify with. Although there was a few things for the Spanish, they were talking about some sort of cheeseburger from Burger King, I believe it was, where they, instead of saying the name of it, they explained it in Spanish with every ingredient. So sometimes, and if it's catering in Spanish to Spanish people, they describe it to cater better towards them, which makes sense. So in conclusion, I am starting to feel more comfortable with the speed of Spanish. Since I don't know it, it's at the beginning, before I took any sort of class, it sounded completely muffled, and there was no way I could possibly ever keep up with it. But now that I'm really starting, we're getting deeper in the semester, I can pick out way more words than I used to, and I can catch on a lot faster, or at all compared to what I used to. I'm also starting to notice more slang. With learning the regular vocabulary and how certain things are supposed to be said, some sayings really stand out to me, and I know that they must be slang because they don't follow rhythms. To go along with that too, with the different heritage, there are new sayings. The Thanksgiving, the boys was asking me so much about American English culture, and theirs they have, cultural, their celebrities, their news, over the time of history, cater to their culture and heritage. And especially with the my Spanish lesson, I'm really starting to keep up with the conversations. The only thing that makes it somewhat hard is on the radio, when I have no idea what they could be talking about at all. Like when, for example, when I first turn it on and start listening to it, it's a little bit harder because we obviously with the medical profession Spanish have been catering more towards that. So if they're talking about, for example, a celebrity or something, I'm not comfortable with those words and don't really know what they're talking about until, it's a name or something that I can latch on to. But in my lessons, when I know we're talking about food portions, it's much easier for me to keep up with. But that concludes my Spanish language contract presentation for November. Thank you.